All right, guys. So in today's video, I just want to make a quick video talk about my favorite 35mm Leica lenses for street photography. And I'm doing this one with my phone. I don't want to take too much time. I have stuff to do, but I wanted to address this because I received comments in social media regarding the lenses that I use, what lenses I use for some of the pictures I take. So I have three lenses right here, which are not only the only 35s that I own, because I also have Voigtlander lenses, but talking about Leica lenses, we are going to start with this one right here, which is the Summilux. It's one of the latest lenses I bought. This one is the new version of the Summilux 35mm f1.4. I think this one is called as the version 2 or the new generation. Now, this lens is actually super sharp. It is good when it comes to image quality. The image quality is actually really modern, really sharp lens. But one of the reasons why I stopped using this lens so much is because this lens is actually fairly heavy, and one of the things that makes me lean toward Leica M system is the small form factor of some of the lenses in the camera. So this one actually throws me off because necessarily when I do street photography, I like to hang my camera around my neck, as you can see right here. And with heavy lenses, the camera tend to tip forward, and when you're walking for 3 to 5 hours, the weight of the lens could actually hinder you in taking more pictures. So that is the 35mm Summilux version, the latest version. Really good lens, and as you can see right here, one of the advantages of this lens is that the close focusing distance is going to be 0.4 meters. So you can actually focus with this lens really close, which for some people is going to be a plus, but for street photography, it doesn't matter so much because you're not going to be that close to someone unless you want to get punched. So this lens, it's incredible and great image quality. It's on the heavier side. It is also the biggest lens out of all these lenses that we're going to be reviewing today. But, most likely, I think this lens is going to go for sale pretty soon. Now, let me show you another lens that I love and I use a lot. This one is going to be the smallest lens out of all the Leica lenses. This is the Summilux 35mm f1.4 Steel Rim Reissue. Now, this lens is the reissue of a vintage lens that Leica used to make. And while this lens is actually a reissue of that lens, this lens is, in my opinion, identical. It's not an identical copy. This one has a much more modern look, although it does have some of the character that the vintage version has. And where you're going to see the character in this lens is between the f1.4 and f2.8. That's where the lens is going to have some of that glow effect, very characteristic of this lens. And, the image is not going to be a very contrasty on those apertures. So you are going to get that character, if you're looking for that glow or hazing effect, you are going to get this with this lens. But the advantage of this lens is that the moment you step it, at around f8, f11, this lens is surprisingly sharp. It is very, very sharp. So with this lens, you can actually get a lens that has that, vintage look, that character of a vintage lens, but also, have a lens that whenever you need it to be super sharp, is super sharp. Now, I love this lens in the silver color that it comes. I think it matches really good with, not matches, but contrast is really good with black cameras. And most of my cameras are actually black. And I love it. One of the reasons why I've been acquiring more gray lenses is because, or silver lenses, because they tend to look really good with black cameras. Now, enter my latest acquisition, and this one is by far the one, in my opinion. We're talking about the Summicron 35mm f2. Now, why I think this lens is actually perfect is because of several reasons. Number one reason, you can actually get this lens used, which is what I actually did. I got this lens for $1,500. Now, this is a lens that goes for about, I believe, $3,700, $3,500 brand new. And I got it for $1,500 because this lens needed the coupling with a viewfinder, and that cost me $300 to fix. I ended up paying about, $1,800 for this lens. So I think it's a pretty good deal. This lens was barely used. The photographer that owned it before did not put many hours on this lens. Even the mount doesn't even have a single scratch. Optics were super, super clean. And I really enjoy this lens for street photography. Now, aside from the cost of this lens, one of the reasons why I love this lens for street photography is because this lens has a pretty good size, in my opinion. It is not too small, where this one sometimes can become a little bit finicky when trying to, operate the apertures. A little bit, weird the way it is, but, nonetheless, I can use it. And I don't like this, lock infinity lock, switch that this lens has, because a lot of the time I just want to change focus really quick and it's locked right there. But again, for speed, I think this lens is going to be a better option, or at least it is for myself, because number one, this lens is going to run you can find this lens used. There's a lot of availability of this lens, not so much of this one specifically. If you want the vintage, it's really hard to get and expensive. So this one, there's availability. Number two, the image quality is going to be sharp. From f2 all the way to f16, you are going to get a very, very sharp image with great contrast. Something that I cannot say about this lens, because this lens has low contrast and not a sharp image at f1.4 to f2.8, and probably even up to f4, that's when you're gonna start seeing this lens becoming a little bit sharper and with rich contrast. But again, this is a lens that you get because of the character of the lens, and one of the reasons why I got the lens, because there are some pictures taken with this lens that you cannot replicate with any other this lens that I own right now. So something, really good to have that diversity. But if I would have to pick one lens for most of my needs, most likely this would be the lens. The Summicron 35mm f2.0, a lens that, as you can see, is not much bigger than this one. It's a little bit bigger than this one, but not a lot. But it's a lens that is also light. And as you can see, if I put this lens here, the camera doesn't tip forward, something that will happen with this chunk of glass of lens. Now, this lens is also very expensive. One of the reasons why I want to part ways, before anything happened to this lens, I believe I paid with tax and everything near $6,000 for this lens. Pretty crazy, but yes, I did that crazy thing and I got it. I thought this lens was going to kind of like change my life for a reason, but to be honest with you, if I would actually have to grab this lens, I would actually go with a prior version that can that has a minimum focusing distance 0.7 meters rather than 0.4. And to be honest with you, I compare both lenses, the prior version and this one, and the only difference, the close focusing distance, which you cannot use with any of the M digital cameras, because they only go up to 0.7 meters. So in order to focus with this lens, you have to use the rear screen or the VisiFlex, the EVF that you can mount right here. But again, that makes the camera heavier, and to be honest with you, looks really bad on the Leica M11 or M11P or monochrome. So yeah, this lens is gonna go for sale probably very soon. Again, great lens, not my cup of tea. Probably if you do tons of portrait, this is a lens that you may wanna consider, or for something more clinical, but not for the type of work that I'm doing currently. This one right here, again, it's a lens that I will not sell. I actually got it for a pretty good deal as well, because of the loose aperture ring. And this is something that you have to be careful. These lenses, even when they come brand new, are a hit and miss. Some come with a very wobbly aperture ring and loose, and this one was one of them. So the guy that owned it before couldn't deal with it and sold it to me for about $2,400. I pay again $300 to fix it. I believe this lens can go up for sale brand new around $3,800. So I got it fairly new as well. And as you can see, because it's a fairly new lens, doesn't have a single scratch or anything. Got it with lens hood and everything, and just repaired it myself. Now, where do I send my lens to be repaired? I send all my lenses to get repaired or adjusted or coupled to DAG camera service or camera part. They are in New Jersey, and they do, no, in New Jersey, no, they're in Wisconsin, I'm sorry. They're in Wisconsin, and they know a lot about Leica cameras and lenses, and they have a pretty fast turnaround. In 2 weeks, I got 2 lenses that I sent for repair, this one and this one, really quick. And this is something, to also keep in mind, because I sent my 20 Elmerit to Leica, and it's been a month and a half, and I'm still waiting for the lens, and I don't know what happens. Another story about the lens later on. So here it is, the Summicron 35mm f2 lens. This is my go-to for street photography. I'm filming this with my phone, so I cannot slide images or anything like that. But I'll be sharing some images, and probably I put a video together in YouTube with sample images of all these lenses, so you guys can actually see and compare. So this is going to be the end, guys. Thank you for watching this video. See you later.